And we have Ricky Howe, who was born where?
I was born in England, James.
In England.
And came to New Zealand in 1952, and New Zealand's my home.
You know, for centuries, Ricky, you'd have to agree this is true, that the big multicultural question in England was, would the Scottish and the Welsh and the English and the Irish ever get on, and will they?
Well, over the period of time, they've had the difficulty, especially between Northern Ireland and England, but peace has come. And it's taken compromise, dialogue, and a willingness and a love to achieve peace. When people stop fighting, as we've discovered from all wars, you have peace.
You've been a public servant for decades.
Yes.
Working for New Zealand around the world.
That's correct.
Okay, you married a Muslim lady?
A Muslim lady, yes, in Kenya.
And you have an English Christian background?
Yes.
You know, Ricky Howe has the multicultural question embodied in yourself. I mean, do you think there's going to be peace in New Zealand at any time? Will it always ever be fixed up once and for all between Pākehā and Maori?
Definitely. It's going to take a willingness. It's going to take a dialogue. There are questions of huge import that need to be resolved. I mean, since 1921, when the Maori race was nearly on the decline, it's slowly come back, and a lot has happened through, especially through the Kuias and Kahanga Reo, bringing back the Maori language, bringing back the Maori culture. And there's a sense of a willingness of having their identity recognised. The areas of foreshore and seabed legislation, these are matters for Parliament and
democracy.
To get together and say, how do we get to yes?
Can I ask you the insensitive, politically incorrect question?
Sure. I'm
not the only one thinking about this. Islam and Christianity in New Zealand. Peaceful at the moment, maybe because we have a Christian majority. Do you think there's long-term hope for peace?
There's always long-term hope for peace between Islam. Islam is, I submit, Salam means the word peace.
Okay.
It is in a majority of areas, it is a very peaceful religion. Sadly, there are one or two sects or groups who have misinterpreted the Quran, just as we've had in the past with Christians.
Yeah, that's what Brendan Burns pointed out, didn't he? Yes.
The Bible, for their own use or their own ends. And whenever we get wars or something like this, it's over greed, power, or lust, for want of a better word.
Okay. Now, it was in the newspaper just recently that the boy races, the recent crackdown by police on boy races, has actually pushed some of them into the extreme where they're now susceptible to being targeted by white-only, neo-Nazi, against other races influences. And the question I have to ask about is this: would it be safe in New Zealand if we become more multicultural?
I believe yes. I believe New Zealand is a multicultural society. We like to believe we are bicultural because of originally the treaty of Waitangi was between the Maori and the Pākehā. But we have the influence of the Chinese for many centuries. The Indians are coming. The Sikhs are here. We have the Polynesians. Auckland's the largest Polynesian city in the world. We have Somali refugees, Iraqi refugees, Vietnamese, Cambodian refugees, all fitting in. A lot of people come to our country, and it's not first of all, I think, to escape the horrors of their own country, but basically to do something for the benefit of their children. And it's their children who will be the more upstanding citizens for the future.
My last question is, because we're running out of time, I just have to ask the question. The population density in India is 378 per square kilometre.
Yes.
In Bangladesh, it's 1,000 per square kilometre. In New Zealand, it's 15 per square kilometre. If we had the same density of people in New Zealand as they do in India, we'd have 90 million Kiwis. If we're like Bangladesh, we'd have 290 million Kiwis. Do you think with our current population of 4 million, we can afford to be multicultural?
We can afford to be multicultural.
Up to what limit? How many do you think New Zealand can support?
I think not automatically just dumping in, say, X million people.
Across 2 centuries.
But over 2 centuries, we could perhaps quite comfortably go up to 20 million people.
Well, Ricky's taking a stab from 4 million to 20 people. I wonder if we'd ever hit 50 million. Wouldn't it be amazing to look back?